What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. So I've done a couple videos like these already, mostly focused on Kakarot though, someone else raising him. I did do it once with Tarble, but it's mostly been focused on Goku. But this time around, we're going to be trying something a little bit different. A similar concept, but applied to a different character who's also a fan favorite, Vegeta. Now, as you could probably guess, it would be a bit harder to make a what if like this, but I have the perfect idea for who to raise Vegeta instead of his normal upbringing. This time around, Beerus is going to be the one raising him. But how's that even going to come about and how's that going to work? Well, stick around and find out. For this video, let's set a like goal of 4,000 likes. If we hit that, I'll continue with another part of the series and make it a full story. Anyways, let's begin. So, one thing that I should note is that the story will mostly focus on Vegeta at first. Don't expect too much regarding Earth. I will cover it briefly here and there, but as the series goes forward, if there's not much change on Earth, it's not going to get as much focus because it is Vegeta oriented. There will have to be a lot changed here, but I have a pretty good idea of how to do this. First off, there's Beerus. Right after he suggests to Frieza to destroy the Saiyans, he goes to sleep and immediately has this dream. He has a dream about a Super Saiyan God. He isn't sure what it is or what brought about the dream, but he can probably tell it's related to what he just told Frieza. He jerks back awake. It's a relatively short nap, about a year or so, which is very short for someone like Beerus. And it's probably already too late. Damn it, he shouldn't have told Frieza to destroy the Saiyans. He tells Whis about this dream, the Super Saiyan God. He wants to find it. And Whis does have some good news. While the Saiyans were destroyed, at least most of them, there were some people that escaped planet Vegeta, at least to his knowledge. It seems that there's some Saiyans in the Frieza Force still. There might be others out there too, but he doesn't really care about that. Mostly Beerus is focused on those 3 Saiyans. That's a surefire thing at least. He can go to seek them out before Frieza gets his hands on them. For all he knows, Frieza's gonna kill those guys too. He's angered. But he cools down when he realizes that this is kind of his fault. He shouldn't have been so rash with Frieza. So, he seeks out Frieza, going to his army, and meeting with the man himself. Frieza's surprised to see Beerus is back here. He thought Beerus was gonna take a nap, but apparently he did, and he just woke up from it. Quite a short nap for him, but whatever, Frieza's not gonna question it. He wonders why he's here though, he will question that. And Beerus explains to Frieza, he needs to find a Saiyan. Are there any left in his army? It seems like there are, so Frieza shouldn't lie about this. And Frieza says, yes, there are 3 left that he knows about. He's not sure if any others escaped or whatever, but he knows for a fact that there's 3 left. One of whom would probably be pretty intriguing for Beerus, the son of King Vegeta, Prince Vegeta. And you know what? If Beerus wants to take him off Frieza's hands, he'd be perfectly fine with that. Although he tells Beerus, please leave 2 Saiyans at least. They are pretty strong soldiers. They'll be nice to have in his army. They are a rare commodity after Beerus' suggestion after all. And Beerus doesn't like the fact that Frieza's trying to bargain with him. But again, this kinda is his fault, so he should probably live with the consequences. Plus, he only needs 1 Super Saiyan God. He doesn't care about the 2 weaker ones. He's gonna go for the strongest one, Vegeta. Apparently he's a prodigy. Besides being the son of the king, which basically just proves that he's gonna be strong, Frieza says that he's growing quite fast as a warrior. So, Frieza seeks him out, finding Vegeta for Beerus. They find him amidst his training too, and Beerus gets to see firsthand. And Beerus approaches him. Vegeta's pretty terrified of Beerus, having seen how he treated his father and all. He knows Beerus isn't one to be messed with, and he wonders, is Beerus here to kill him or something? No, quite the opposite actually. Beerus offers him an opportunity. He asks, does he know anything about a Super Saiyan God? And this not only makes Vegeta perk up, but Frieza too. Beerus mentioned he had some premonition, but not about a Super Saiyan God. And this kind of terrifies Frieza. A Super Saiyan God? Thinking about that in a Super Saiyan. It makes him nervous, and if Beerus is here, there must be some truth to it. He hopes it's not true though, but if Vegeta's gonna be taken off his hands, he might not have to worry about it. If it truly is a thing. And, much to his relief, Vegeta says he knows nothing of it. All he knows is legends about a Super Saiyan. But Frieza tells Vegeta he had a premonition about it, and his premonitions are not something to be taken lightly. He knows that a Super Saiyan God can be made, and he thinks Vegeta would be the perfect candidate, and also he pretty much is the only candidate as far as Beerus knows. And of course, Vegeta doesn't like Beerus, not one bit, but he likes him more than Frieza. That's mainly because he doesn't really know Beerus, and Beerus seems a lot more laid back as a god of destruction can be in comparison to an emperor that just destroys everything. So it might be better to go off with him. Vegeta hates Frieza after all too, and his hatred for Frieza is greater than that for Beerus. Plus, if this power really is true, he could just train with Beerus and then come back here, killing Frieza like he's always wanted. So, kind of reluctantly, he does agree to go with Beerus. I mean, he doesn't really have any other choice. Either stay here, be enslaved by Frieza, be killed by Beerus for denying him, or go with Beerus, get stronger. Even if the Super Saiyan God doesn't exist, he'll at least get some nice training out of it. At least it seems like that's going to be the case. And Beerus is elated, with Whis and him taking Vegeta back to Beerus' planet. It leaves Frieza in a pretty odd position. There's those other two Saiyans left. Should he just kill them, or should he just keep them around? Well, for the time being, he'll keep Raditz and Nappa around. Like I mentioned, they are pretty strong soldiers after all. He might have some use for them. Anyways, onward to Beerus' planet. Vegeta arrives there, and immediately they begin the training. He asks Beerus though, what's the plan for becoming a Super Saiyan God? If they know nothing about it, what is he supposed to do? Well, that's what Whis is there for. Beerus isn't actually going to be the one training Vegeta, although he does want to test his power. And of course, it's nothing impressive. Vegeta's a kid, and even though he's strong for a kid, I mean, come on, he's incredibly weak in comparison to Beerus. That much was obvious and Beerus kind of knew it, but at least gauges his strength a little bit. And now Whis knows what he's working with. Vegeta has some fighting abilities, which is great, and he is pretty strong from the start, relative to how strong he should be. But he has a long, long way to go if he wants to match with Beerus. So, the training begins. First, they just need to increase Vegeta's strength, and thankfully Whis has just the thing for that. With his training, he can give Vegeta such effective techniques that he'll be so unrecognizably stronger. His techniques will improve greatly, but on top of that, his strength will improve greatly. But he warns Vegeta, be prepared for the most brutal training of his life, and Vegeta's ready for it. Remember, his idea in mind is that he wants to get strong enough to defeat Frieza. And as he learns more about Beerus and Whis, maybe one day, he could be a candidate for a god of destruction. Beerus flies the idea by them, but it seems pretty outlandish at the moment given Vegeta is still a child and barely strong enough to do anything. Although the idea does cross Vegeta's mind. Imagine that, him being a god of destruction, ruling the universe. He has a new goal in mind. He doesn't care how far-fetched it is, he's gonna achieve it. The first step to becoming a Super Saiyan God in Vegeta's eyes might be becoming a Super Saiyan. That legend he actually does know a little bit about, and maybe if that's real, it could be the first step. I mean, it's called a Super Saiyan God for a reason. Of course, they don't know that the two are kind of unrelated, and he might not necessarily need one to get the other, but it would be a good place to start. But how is he supposed to unlock Super Saiyan, if it even exists? That's where Whis comes in. He'll be able to effectively analyze Vegeta, figuring things out about the Saiyans that he might have not even known, and he knows that Vegeta grows relatively quickly with Zenkais and all. Could that be the key to it? Well, it doesn't really seem so. No matter how badly injured Vegeta gets, or how rough his training is, nothing is making him become a Super Saiyan. I mean, Vegeta thinks he is. Every time he gets stronger from being healed, he gets such a huge increase in power that he thinks maybe now he's a Super Saiyan. But also at the same time, no, this can't be it. These are just normal power boosts that he gets as a Saiyan. Whis is impressed with how quickly he's growing. Granted, he's still very weak in comparison to him and Beerus. That much is obvious, and it's probably going to be that way for a couple years, maybe decades. But Vegeta's already grown multiple times stronger within the first few months. At this current level, he's stronger than pretty much any other Saiyan that's ever existed. At least to his knowledge. They stopped tracking power levels. But he estimates that if he were to track it by now, he'd probably be in the 50,000 range, which is amazing, especially for a kid like him. As expected for an elite Saiyan like himself, the Prince of the Saiyans. And you know, Beerus is actually warming up to him. He wasn't too sure about this at first, but Vegeta's growing at an incredibly quick rate. And at first the two didn't really like each other, but Vegeta's also getting more fond of Beerus. He doesn't like him, but he admires how Beerus carries himself and such. He does want to be like that one day, being the god of destruction in Universe 7. So, he might need to emulate Beerus. Remember, this is about Beerus raising him after all. Vegeta's very impressionable at this point. He is still a kid, and with Beerus being the main figure in his life as well as Whis, he's gonna get a lot from them. He will retain a Saiyan side, of course, but he's gonna develop radically differently than how he did normally. Whis is not only physically training Vegeta either, he's training him mentally too, acting as a guardian for him since Beerus seems to not care about the child's well-being too much, but he is present. It's best for all of them to do this to get along, and to make sure Vegeta doesn't go rogue or whatever. And it does end up working out. As I did mention though, we will briefly cover Earth, so let's start here. As you could probably expect too, everything's gonna go normally until the Saiyan Saga. No matter what happens with Vegeta and everyone out in space, Kakarot was still sent to Earth and nothing would have affected what happened there. Kakarot turns into Goku, Goku has all his normal journeys, blah blah blah, skip forward a few years, and now we arrive to after the 23rd World Tournament. A couple years after actually. And this is where things begin to really change. Raditz eventually does go to Earth. Without Vegeta there too, they really do need an extra Saiyan. He left so long ago and never returned. It's been so long at this point, nearly 2 decades. But at some point, he definitely would try and get Kakarot to join him, and now he's here on Earth. He's gonna be a lot more careful this time. As I mentioned, it's just him and Nappa. He doesn't really have much backup, and Nappa is still out in space alone though. They really do need more help, so he wants to tread lightly here. He doesn't want Kakarot to turn against him, but he also does need some of that brute force. Although, even though he ends up being more careful, things escalate a little too quickly and it pretty much goes the same as normal, meaning Goku dies. As well as Raditz too. And now, Nappa's gonna be heading to Earth, trying to pick up the pieces, maybe trying to recruit Kakarot, and in the worst case, he's just gonna kill everyone there. But this kind of terrifies Nappa because he's the only Saiyan left in the Frieza Force. Frieza can do whatever he wants now. He probably would be better off going to Earth and trying to escape there. And since the encounter with Raditz kind of ended normally, well, training leading up to the Saiyan quote-unquote saga, I don't even know if you can call it the Saiyan saga anymore because it's just Nappa. I mean, it still is a Saiyan coming to Earth, but it's so different now. Anyways, training's gonna go normally. As far as they know, there's gonna be a strong Saiyan coming to Earth soon. So they train in preparation for him. And then they encounter Nappa himself, and it's just Nappa. Of course, he might have some Cybermen with him. But thankfully, the group is a lot more cautious this time with them, taking on the Cybermen and facing no casualties at all. Oh crap, well, those guys were kind of weak, so maybe Nappa still stands a chance. Not really. He has the entire group against him, and while individually they might be weak in comparison to him, collectively, they greatly overpower him. And there's also one thing that you should probably consider too. At some point, Krillin will probably try his Kienzan, and without Vegeta there to warn Nappa, well, Nappa's gonna get cocky and try to tank it, trying to eat the Kienzan. I'll spare you the graphic details, but it doesn't end well for Nappa. Piccolo jumps in front of Gohan, shielding him, or at least shielding his eyes. And they watch the top half of Nappa's head come off. Ew. Goku arrives not long after, and even though he was late, it seems everything went okay. They're able to handle themselves against Nappa, and thankfully there were no casualties. And now, Goku's back too. So, is that it? Also, Frieza's not gonna get word of the Dragon Balls. Nappa really only went to Earth not only out of his own safety, but also to try and recruit Kakarot one more time, or at least get revenge against him. He didn't even care or hear of the Dragon Balls, and Frieza wouldn't either. It's a pretty unceremonious end, but now, everything's back to normal on Earth, and they're happy and peaceful. Which will drastically change the story on Earth too, but like I said, this is more so Vegeta focus. Speaking of that, let's get back to Vegeta. It has been a while since we last covered him, or at least in the scope of the series so far. We basically skipped like 20 plus years ahead by now, meaning Vegeta is a very different person at this point, not only in terms of his personality, but in strength too. With all these years spent with Beerus and Whis, basically with them being his guardians and the people raising him, Vegeta's now a full-grown adult. Actually, a little beyond that too. He's been fully grown for a while. And that's the thing, with how much time has passed, he 100% would have Super Saiyan by now. He unlocked it a while ago, and he's been training rigorously ever since. His power, it's actually pretty impressive for a mortal. Beerus can't even believe it. He knew Saiyans could grow really strong, but this is something else. And he could already sense it. With how long Vegeta's been here, he already does have God Ki within him, and not just trace amounts either, pretty big amounts too. And I know it's only the first part, so it might seem kind of surprising to do this. But realistically, by this point, who knows? Maybe Vegeta could get Super Saiyan God by now. It's been so long that he's been training here. And yes, he did start out much weaker and all. But in terms of having God Ki within him, he definitely would have more than enough by now. Vegeta originally got Super Saiyan God in the story by just training there. And here, he would have trained more than long enough. And he's probably more than practiced with it too. So, as they've done many times before, Beerus and Vegeta get ready for a battle, with Vegeta powering up into Super Saiyan God. He's been trying to ascend it for a while at this point, and Beerus feels like he might be on the cusp of something new. Vegeta's completely unaware of all the events happening across the universe, especially with his former crew. He's gone down a completely different path and is now living a very different life. But what's going to happen going forward? And how much has Vegeta changed as a person? So as mentioned, Vegeta already does have Super Saiyan God. It might seem like a bit early, but you have to consider. Honestly, it would be kind of weird if he didn't have Super Saiyan God. And what do you think about it? I'm kind of nerfing him at this rate for only having that. He could probably be way beyond that. But since they were starting from scratch with no knowledge of Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan God, this is more than reasonable. And I don't want to make him too overpowered just yet. Just yet, though. That's going to be coming very soon. Although, yeah, Vegeta's going to be pretty strong. He's a Super Saiyan God already. And on top of that, even if he didn't have this form, he'd be strong in general with all those years training with Whis. His techniques, his raw power, even his mental fortitude. Everything about him has vastly improved as a warrior. He picked up a lot of influence from Beerus and Whis. Although, there definitely is a loose end that he needs to tie up. Around the same time of everything that happened in the last part, with the Saiyan invasion on Earth, there is another Saiyan invasion. Although it's only one Saiyan, Vegeta, arriving to the base of operations for Frieza's army. Beerus recognized that Vegeta has wanted to do this for a while, and he finally allows Vegeta to do this. It will be a great test of his power too. Beerus has always attempted to gauge it, but he always has to hold back so much. He does want to see how Vegeta performs in a real situation though, something like this. Sending him to defeat Frieza will be a perfect test. Or at least Beerus thinks. He doesn't realize how big the gap in power is just yet. Vegeta arrives at the base, immediately making his presence known. He wants to find Frieza, and King Cold for that matter. And Vegeta's ready for a fight. No matter what Frieza has in store, Vegeta's definitely prepared. And he's ready for a fun battle. Of course, the entire Frieza army attacks him. All the Frieza Force goons, the Ginyu Force, everyone. And even in base, they're no match for Vegeta. He knew he got strong, but this is actually way more than he thought. It's kind of a weird situation because he hasn't really been around other mortals in so long. Okay, well, maybe that was a fluke. Or maybe he truly is that powerful. The fight with Frieza should be more interesting though, right? Well, King Cold and Frieza do end up arriving back on the planet, hearing that there's commotion and realizing that all of their army has been wiped out. And Vegeta's ready, and just to make things more fun, he tells them, if they have anything in store, use it now. Any transformations, whatever. He wants them to use everything they've got. And Frieza has no idea what he's talking about. But then Frieza holds his tongue. He remembers, Vegeta's been training with Beerus for so long. Maybe he truly is strong. Well, okay. Just to be safe, Frieza decides to show off his full power, transforming as King Cold stands there. And he doesn't just go into his final form at 50%, no, he goes to his 100% power. He actually isn't holding back, and Vegeta can tell. And he welcomes Frieza to attack first. Vegeta is really cocky, so if he's gonna leave himself open, Frieza's gonna take the chance. He simply lifts a finger up, launching a death beam right at Vegeta. It hits him directly in the chest. And as the beam dissipates, it leaves absolutely no marks at all. Huh? No, that can't be. He had a direct shot right there. He tries again, and again, and again. And Vegeta is confused too. He can't feel any of these attacks. Frieza's at his full power. Normally this would have been terrifying for any other mortal, but for him, he feels nothing. And the weirdest part is, he hasn't transformed yet. And Frieza's terrified. He's a Super Saiyan, isn't he? And Vegeta says, well, yeah, he is, but he's not transformed. Wait, he's not transformed? Super Saiyan's a transformation? Oh yeah, and Vegeta gets a kick out of this. He transforms into a Super Saiyan. And that alone paralyzes King Cold and Frieza with fear. But Vegeta's not enjoying any of this. Well, he is, watching them cower in fear. But he didn't recognize the gap of power was this strong. And then he transformed into Super Saiyan God, just to show it off and see their reaction. They can't sense it at all, which Beerus said might be the case for mortals. So Vegeta's not too surprised there. But while in Super Saiyan God, he decides to power up even more, showing some of his full strength. And this is where things get really weird. Simply by powering up, Vegeta doesn't even realize what he's doing. The entire planet begins shaking, erupting. And the force of him powering up alone, well, that's enough to kill Frieza and King Cold. And Vegeta stops, powering back down. The entire planet's collapsing. And he looks around. That's just from him powering up? This is the first time he's truly gotten to test his power against someone else. Like, he's gone all out against Beerus before. He knows how strong he is. But he hasn't really had that comparison in a while to a mortal level. Vegeta's of course elated, but at the same time, he's bored. He needs a rival. He sees what Beerus was doing too. And Vegeta's in kind of a weird spot. He's too strong to have any rivals with the mortals, but he's too weak to be a rival with Beerus, at least at the moment. Well, if anything, this just serves as more motivation for him to train because it's really the only thing he can do, as well as trying to learn new abilities from Beerus and Whis. Whis was trying to teach Vegeta one thing about moving his body automatically, and that does seem cool, but Vegeta's more interested in what Beerus has in store, specifically the Hakkais and stuff like that. Those seem really cool, having those destructive abilities. Becoming a true god of destruction like Vegeta thought of before. At least in this scenario. So, that's the path he's gonna go down now. That'll probably get him the strongest, and it will let him have better fights with Beerus too. Finally finding a rival on his level. It's weird because now he's in Beerus' shoes. He sees exactly how Beerus feels. Meanwhile, let's go over to Earth. I did say I wasn't going to cover Earth too much, but that's going to be changing going forward since I already have the story written out, and it will become important later on. So, what's been happening there? Well, let's say a few more years pass since the Saiyan invasion, on both ends of the universe. On Earth, there's been no threats at all. No Namek happened, the Saiyan saga wasn't nearly as bad as it was normally, and after that, there wouldn't really be anything else. Earth is just peaceful at the moment, which is great. One big change that would probably be brought about is that Goten's born early, and people are probably going to be slacking off in their training, even though some will be training consistently, like Goku and Piccolo. Although, there's another thing. Piccolo's not really going to be too involved with the main cast. I mean, they kind of are on good terms after the year of training in the Saiyan saga, and of course, with him teaching Gohan and all, he has warmed up to them a bit, especially Gohan himself. But Piccolo's kind of secluded. He's a good guy now, I guess, but not really that close with the group. Although at some points, he probably would end up training with Goku because that's his main rival now. The strongest person on Earth. If he wants to grow stronger, he needs to be involved. So even without the events of Namek here, he still does end up having ties with the group, with Goku and him becoming rivals, but on much better terms than they were before. Also, I normally would say that Goku would catch the heart virus because usually in my scenarios, I go with the explanation that he caught it as a kid and it just laid dormant. But I'm gonna throw Goku a bone here. In this scenario, I'll go with the logic that the heart virus came from Yardrat, which was never confirmed, but I never really used that explanation in my videos. However, here I will use it, and since Goku never went to Yardrat in the scenario, he doesn't get the heart virus. I mean, we at least need to give them something. They're very weak at this point, so... And besides this, there's going to be other things that affect the Android saga, because that is still going to happen, although it's going to be much different than normal. First off, no time traveler. One of the reasons I'm doing the thing with the heart virus. No one gets warning of the androids, because there are no androids. Jiro does still work on another project though. He decides to focus all of his attention on Cell. Since the group of people that he's trying to kill is much smaller and much weaker, and he doesn't have as much research as normal, he feels like it's probably best to just focus on one thing. He doesn't need to create all these different androids at once. So he works on a project that he thinks will be perfect, although it's going to take a while for it to be complete. So he stays in his lab as he works on its greatest project yet, Cell. But we're not going to see him just yet, meaning there's not really an android saga. And that means we're probably going to even skip ahead even more. This is the second big time skip in this part alone, and the third in the scenario overall. And combining the two, we basically had 30 years worth of time skips so far, give or take, because now we get to the Buu saga. And here, this is actually going to start happening. Keyword, it's going to start happening. All this while, Vegeta has been training. He's continuously trained with Beerus and Whis, trying to unlock a power beyond Super Saiyan God. And by this point in the story, with how long he's been training, he has grown exponentially stronger, and Beerus is elated. But beyond his base strength growing, Vegeta also unlocks a couple new techniques, and a new form too. By combining the power of Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God, he's achieved and gained mastery over Super Saiyan Blue now. And he senses something strange. On a faraway planet, one that he never even thought about before, Whis notes that something strange is happening, and Vegeta might be able to find a rival there. The only reason Whis knows about this is because the Supreme Kai is there too. Apparently some events unfolding on Earth. There's warriors there trying to fight a new threat, one that's currently awakening, Majin Buu. Over on Earth, the group is basically helpless. The Supreme Kai is there with Kibito. And Shin would definitely be the strongest of everyone, which is weird to say because normally he isn't seen as that strong. But in this case, he is. And with all the time Babidi spent here on Earth, as well as staking out an ongoing tournament, he was finally able to collect enough energy, and the group watches on as Majin Buu is revived. Shin begins freaking out. There's no way they're going to be able to defeat him. And that is true. There's no way for them to defeat him. But much to his surprise, 3 people teleport in on Earth. They're speechless, and the Earthlings look on confused, not knowing who these people are. Well, Shin tells them, this is the god of destruction, Beerus. He's here to save them. He could definitely defeat Buu, probably with one attack. Or maybe Whis is gonna do something. And Beerus says that's not the case. He just needs to make sure that Shin survives. But he's not gonna get intervened. That's what this other person is here for. He greets everyone, introducing himself, and then introducing Vegeta. But something catches Vegeta's eye. He looks over at the group of Earthlings, and one of them, he looks like a Saiyan. No, that can't be. There's no other Saiyans that survived, right? Well, outside of his brother. No, he remembers now. He remembers Raditz telling him a while ago. There was some planet, it was called Earth. And his brother was sent here. Vegeta looks over. Kakarot? And Goku's confused. How does Vegeta know that name? He's heard that name from Raditz. Wait, what? Babidi and Buu are getting impatient, but Vegeta tells him to shut up. He wants to know more about this. So, he is a Saiyan. That's Raditz' brother, and Raditz and Nappa ended up coming here. Oh yeah, Goku says they came here a while ago, and they also ended up dying. As well as him too, but they did fend off the Saiyan invasion. You know what? Vegeta's not too surprised that they died coming here. Without his guidance, yeah, they definitely would have failed. But that's interesting. Not only the fact that there's another Saiyan here, but he has 2 kids, hybrid Saiyans. Okay, Vegeta's definitely gonna have to check that out later, but for now, he wants to fight Buu. This could potentially be his new rival. Babidi continues yelling, and Vegeta simply points a finger at him, decimating him with one beam. Okay, not really too impressive, Babidi wasn't that strong, he just caught him off guard. But they wonder if Vegeta's actually gonna be able to fight this Buu guy. He seems pretty strong. Also, there's Deborah. They were barely able to fend him off. They almost all got turned into stone and killed. They could tell if they fought him at full strength, he would kill them all, but he wanted to keep them alive just to get the energy. Oh, that guy's an issue? Vegeta simply turns over to him. He twitches an eye, and Deborah explodes. He's simply fodder to Vegeta. Vegeta's focused on Buu. He powers up, going into Super Saiyan Blue. And this time he keeps it in check, knowing that powering up could literally disintegrate everyone around him, as well as the planet too. He welcomes Buu to attack him. Now without Babidi there controlling him, Buu's free to do what he wants. And it's a similar case to Frieza. Great. Vegeta's too strong to even fight this guy. This guy, Buu, he's supposed to be an artificial monster. Apparently he terrorized the Kais a long time ago. At least that's what Shin's saying. But nothing he does can hurt Vegeta. And Vegeta just powers back down into base. There's no fun in using Super Saiyan Blue in this either, so he gives himself the handicap, but even with that, Buu just does absolutely nothing. It's exactly like what happened with Frieza a decade ago. And Vegeta just gets frustrated. There's no fun in this. He obliterates Buu with one attack, utilizing Hakai. There, now that's dealt with. He definitely expected something more, but he's disappointed. Well, Beerus is at least glad that Shin's okay. Not because he cares about Shin's safety too much, but more so his own safety. But Vegeta is curious though. Seeing this other Saiyan here, he wonders, how strong is he now? Well, Goku knows nothing about transformations. He wonders how Vegeta was able to turn his hair blue. And yeah, that makes sense. Kakarot's a low-class warrior. There's no way he'd be able to turn even Super Saiyan. And that's if he even knows about it. Apparently Kakarot was raised here. He knows nothing of that legend. Much less Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue. But Vegeta begins wondering, maybe this could be a potential rival for him. Maybe not. Kakarot seems far too weak, and it would take so long for him to grow. He does keep it in mind, but he returns back to Beerus' planet. And now, Goku's interested. He wants that same power. He wonders, maybe even Goten and Gohan could do it too. Not that they're too interested because they haven't really been training as much, especially with all the peace on Earth, but the thought crosses his mind. And it might seem like this part didn't really amount to too much, but you gotta consider, Cell is still being developed. Vegeta has gotten a lot stronger, and he was on Earth, meaning Cell would definitely get his DNA. Possibly even some more, including people like Buu, maybe even Beerus, or Shin. Probably not Whis, we don't want him too overpowered. So even though this encounter seemed pretty insignificant, it seems Vegeta's rival might arrive soon. He just doesn't know it yet. After learning of Super Saiyan, Goku knows one thing. He needs it. He needs that transformation for himself. It seems awesome, and that'll be great for fights. And after seeing Vegeta's display in power, even though he couldn't sense Vegeta's power, he could just tell by how he fought. This guy was strong. Same for Beerus and Whis, they just stood by completely unfazed. But thankfully, Goku has a great opportunity ahead of him. Right before they leave Earth, Shin and Kibito ask, well, since the mortals here seem so weak, maybe they should train them up in order to avoid things like this in the future. It's their duty as Kais to do this. They're strong, but they weren't able to fight someone like this. But if Saiyans have the potential to get as strong as someone like Vegeta, maybe Goku should be trained by them. And of course, Goku's gonna jump at the opportunity, going to train with Shin and Kibito. Ready for whatever they have in store. Hopefully he can unlock Super Saiyan, or maybe even something better. He's not too sure, but he's gonna remain optimistic. The fact that he knows about Super Saiyan in general means that he's pretty motivated. There's a good shot that he's gonna get at least something. And it's pretty good timing too, because around the same time on Earth, a new threat is brewing, but it's not gonna be something that Goku can face alone. And for once, it might not be something that Vegeta could face alone. Amidst all the chaos with Buu, Jiro's drones kept collecting data. Picking up data and DNA from all the fighters that were there. Keyword, fighters. Anyone who was just standing by doing nothing, the drones didn't really consider taking anything from them, mainly Beerus and Whis, but also some of the humans too. As far as he knew, they were just there to watch the show. But those drones did take data from the people that fought. Vegeta, Shin, Buu, Babidi, Deborah, and of course, all the people that had already had data from. The data and DNA from all these fighters is collected, and Jiro is amazed. Cell's gonna be much stronger than he ever thought. He doesn't know who Vegeta is or how he even showed up here and why, But it doesn't matter, he has data from him. His power seemed amazing, not to mention there was that Boo guy too, who apparently has great regenerative properties, something that Cell already has. But this will just buff it even further. Plus, he's gonna have the magical abilities. Ones from Boo, Bobbity, and Shin, as well as strength from Vegeta, Deborah, and Boo. Cell is shaping up to be something special. And not too long after, he's born. And he's not imperfect. Remember, Gero didn't actually make the other androids too, so he's just gonna be born perfect from the get-go. He doesn't need to absorb any other androids because Gero was working on him longer anyways, and he decided not to make those other ones to rely on. And Gero's amazed. It worked, and Cell, he seems strong. Stronger than Gero could have ever imagined. But as soon as Cell awakens, he looks over at Gero. Gero introduces himself, telling Cell that they're ready to work together now. Together? No, Cell has different plans. He immediately executes Gero. Glad that he was created, but he's not going to follow any of Gero's orders. He's going to work in his own favor. With all the influences within him, he has some pretty particular desires, mainly fighting. He's kind of the same guy when you think about it. He's going to have all of Goku's desires as well as Vegeta's desires, meaning he kind of just wants to find a strong rival and a good fight. Things that other people are looking for too. But who is he going to find to actually battle? As far as he could tell, he's stronger than anyone in existence. At least that's what he thinks. He does remember from the drones though. Apparently, Beerus and Whis are pretty strong because Shin seemed confident in their abilities, but they never fought, so the drones never actually got their data. Which is weird. Cell is wondering why he never collected that. For all he knows, they could have been very powerful. But that's just a new mission for him. He wants to collect data from them, stealing power from them, as well as taking all of their abilities and such. But mainly, he wants to seek out the greatest rival that he can find, and he has one person in mind for that, Vegeta. Cell travels throughout space. Having DNA from Boo allows him to do this. So even though there's no Frieza within him, he more than makes up for it. Not just in power, but abilities as well. And the farther he searches, the more he realizes, Vegeta's gonna be tough to find. He can't sense his energy anywhere. But then he remembers, wait, Vegeta might not be in this realm. He has the abilities of a Kai. He could teleport around different realms. So he has to focus more, not focusing on what's right in front of him, but what's around him. The other realms in this universe, and he tries to focus, spending a lot of time waiting. And at one point, Vegeta's energy flares up during training. He locates it. It's in a completely separate realm. Taking a lot of focus, but he is able to locate it. Then using the Kai Kai to teleport over there, arriving on Beerus' planet. Beerus and Whis are shocked. How did someone else get here? Beerus steps up, ready to erase him, wondering what he's doing here. Cell then tries to stab Beerus with his tail, but he's able to easily dodge it. And then Vegeta shouts, telling Beerus that he wants to handle this. Beerus looks over at him. Is he really sure? They don't know who this guy is or what he's here for. And Vegeta says he's confident about it. Something about this guy. His key. Vegeta could tell. It's an amalgamation of all those different keys that he sensed before on Earth. And he asks who Cell is. So, Cell explains, saying that he's also part of Vegeta too, and he's glad that Vegeta's here because he was looking for him. He feels that Vegeta will lead him to a perfect fight. The two of their strengths will clash. He's definitely a worthy opponent, and Vegeta's actually kind of shocked to hear this. That's exactly what he was looking for too. Cell seems to have more malintent than him though. And Vegeta's confident. Not only is he going to get a great fight out of this, but he's going to prove his superiority. He doesn't care if Cell's man-made to be perfect or whatever. No matter what abilities he has, Vegeta says that he could defeat him. And Beerus and Whis watch on. Yeah, maybe this would be a good test. Vegeta's been trying to find a rival for so long, and hey, if Vegeta does lose this fight, well, Beerus could just execute Cell right on the spot. He does want to protect Vegeta, him being his adoptive son and all. He's not overly protective of him though, where he won't allow him to fight, but he does want to ensure his safety. This is one of the few times where he will intervene, but he lets Vegeta do what he wants. I mean, he's a grown man. He can make these choices, and with his strength, he could definitely back them up too. Alright, well, they could fight out here, on this planet. It's definitely durable enough for whatever fights they want to have. But Beerus does tell them, don't be too reckless. Cell powers up, beckoning for Vegeta to attack. So, Vegeta launches towards him in base, and right away, Cell's able to completely outpace him. And Vegeta's glad. He smiles. Cell wonders why he's acting like this, and Vegeta explains he's never encountered anyone that could fight his base form. And Cell grins too. So, he does have more transformations that he wants to show. I mean, Cell knows about them for sure. There's no point in hiding them. And that's exactly why Vegeta's happy. He actually gets to utilize them in a fight and have a challenge. First, he goes into Super Saiyan God. And even with this, it isn't able to do anything. And Cell recognizes the form too. Super Saiyan God, huh? Not as strong as he imagined it to be. At least fighting it in person. Vegeta goes all out, using everything he has in this form. He's only ever done this against Beerus. since he was the only one who could handle it, but Cell can actually handle it too. And Vegeta definitely wants to keep this guy around. But before that, he has to test more of his power, going into Super Saiyan Blue. And now, Cell actually has to get somewhat serious. Not very serious, but he can't just sit there taking the attacks. He knew Vegeta was powerful, but you also gotta remember, the data that he has is from Vegeta a while ago. Let's say about a year has passed since the Buu saga. Vegeta has continuously been training since then, so even though Cell is just stronger than that by default, Vegeta's also got a year of experience under his belt too. Experience that he didn't show before. And it makes the fight a lot more compelling. Although, Cell does display more of his own power. And this is where the battle really heats up. It becomes more widespread. Instead of just being in one location, they battle around the planet. Thankfully, the only spectators are Beerus and Whis, and they could pretty easily keep up with it. But if anyone else saw this battle, well, they wouldn't see it. They wouldn't know what was going on. This goes so far beyond mortal comprehension. And Beerus realizes, wait, if he has Vegeta's DNA, does he have any of theirs as well? Whis says that he can't sense any of it within Cell. But with Vegeta's DNA, he does have godly abilities now. Plus, Majin Buu is in there, as well as Shin. So that explains why Cell is so strong. He has access to godly ki, a pretty big amount of it in fact, but that also means he might have access to Vegeta's abilities. Which is good for Vegeta because it makes for a fun fight, but also does make things risky. Beerus definitely wants to keep a close eye on this battle. And he's actually glad to see Vegeta's facing a struggle for once. It'll be interesting to see how he performs. He's never seen Vegeta struggle before, at least not against someone else besides him. Vegeta's been looking for an opponent like this for so long, and Beerus knows firsthand how that feels. That's the whole reason he's raising Vegeta, to become that rival that he wants. And Vegeta's definitely getting close, but he's still not there exactly yet. And knowing that exact same feeling, he can only imagine how elated Vegeta is right now. And that's exactly how he's feeling. He's elated, beyond belief. His attacks, at first they're not doing much, but he shows off more and more of his power, realizing he doesn't need to hold back. He's so happy. He's never been able to do this. Just from powering up alone, he destroys his opponents. But Cell, he's able to take it. And also, he fights back, seemingly being stronger than Vegeta in this form. The two are both enjoying themselves greatly. Alright, well, now they've gauged each other's strength. At least that's what Cell says. It's time to get a little bit more serious. Cell tries to show off his full power, no longer holding back anything. And Vegeta starts to lose ground. Not only is he struggling, but he's losing. And Cell reminds Vegeta, don't give in yet. This is a battle to the death. Even though they're having fun here, Cell wants to make that very clear. There will only be one victor. And Vegeta says that's a shame. He would have loved to have Cell around as a rival, but if he has to kill Cell, then so be it. Kill Cell? No, he's not gonna kill him. Cell tells Vegeta to stop being so overconfident. It's already clear that this is a losing battle for him. Vegeta charges a powerful ki attack, getting a direct hit on Cell, disintegrating half of him. But he easily regenerates, telling Vegeta that no matter what he does, he'll just come back from it. Not to mention, he gets a power boost too. He's got infinite regeneration, buffed beyond belief thanks to his powers from Buu. And he actually doesn't really have to worry about stamina here either because of Buu. He's a lot less limited than the Cell that we know in canon. And Beerus is actually kind of concerned. Remember, this is Vegeta's first fight where he's struggling. So these are all genuine reactions. He doesn't know how Vegeta's gonna face a challenge like this. Is he gonna be stubborn, not knowing when to stop? Or is he gonna retreat? Is he gonna fight to the death? Or is he gonna try to preserve himself? And Beerus wonders what the outcome's gonna be. He might have to intervene, but then Vegeta tries something interesting. He tries to summon more power, beyond what he already has. He's kinda hit a wall recently. Of course, Super Saiyan Blue is great, and he's been training consistently with that, gaining a mastery over it and growing stronger and stronger with it. But without that motivation of a rival or something, he's been having trouble ascending it, being only stuck with regular Super Saiyan Blue. But this gives him that motivation, that desire to grow stronger. And he tries to summon more power, whatever's within him. And suddenly, his aura begins warping, changing into something different. The greenish-blue flames become darker blue. His aura becomes a lot brighter, more intense. Vegeta bulks up in size, and his power increases considerably. He's had this within him, and this was just the wall he needed to overcome. As he transforms, he thanks Cell. Finishing off the transformation, this battle, it's what he needed. It's what he needed to get over this hurdle. It's what he needed to ascend Super Saiyan Blue. This is the evolved form of it. And now, the two are fighting on an even playing field once again. Cell does have regeneration, and stamina's not too big of an issue for him, but in terms of strength, Vegeta actually has a slight advantage. Keyword, a slight advantage. He's not flat out overpowering Cell, but it's enough to mitigate the effects of Cell's regeneration and such. But Cell has an ace up his sleeve. Although he doesn't really want to end this fight too quickly, he knows that Vegeta is going to try to kill him, and since this is the battle to the death, he might as well pull out this trick now. He aims a hand at Vegeta, charging up a Hakai. It catches Vegeta off guard, and Vegeta tries to react as quick as possible, but it's already too late. Cell launches the attack, and Beerus watches on in disbelief. He just used a Hakai. A massive explosion is created, and Beerus and Whis look on, seeing no sign of Vegeta. Cell then powers down, no longer using his full strength. He looks over at Beerus. He didn't really want to end that battle too quickly, but at least he could fight Beerus, and hopefully steal some of his power. Did he just destroy Vegeta? Beerus' anger begins bubbling up. He's ready to go in and fight Cell himself. And Cell looks on, smirking. So this is the power of a god of destruction. But he hears a voice behind him. If he truly wants to see the power of a god of destruction, he just needs to turn around. And he sees Vegeta's there, injured but alive. His hand is outstretched. This is a true Hakai. With incredible strength, Vegeta launches his own, disintegrating every little bit of Cell, while also using all of Vegeta's energy. The explosion as a result of this is massive, and Vegeta instantly powers back down into his base, tired out and injured. He tells Beerus, had he reacted any later than he did, he would have been dead. But at the very last second, he was able to pull out his own Hakai against Cell, using it to counter Cell's attack. It seemed like Cell's landed, and it did, but it landed on Vegeta's own attack. And Beerus is very impressed. He not only used it offensively, but defensively. A Hakai, used for self-preservation. Vegeta never ceases to amaze him, and he's glad to see that he's alive. And Vegeta's happy too. He got a real fight for once, and he got a great experience out of it as well as getting stronger. And it's not like Cell's gonna regenerate or anything. That was a Hakai, from a powerful being nonetheless. So every little bit of him is gone. Even with Boo's regeneration, that's not gonna help him here because he's completely gone. And not long after, 3 other people teleported on the planet, and their familiar faces, Shin, Kibito, and Kakarot? Goku was amazed, sensing the power of this battle. Wait, he could sense godly ki? Oh yeah, he guesses Beerus and Whis were out of the loop, and Shin explains that they took Goku on as a student. He's been training with them for a while. Well, at least ever since they were on Earth. And they sensed a massive battle going on here. It seems like it just ended, and they wanted to make sure everything was okay, and it is. Apparently the threat that faced them was from Earth, which terrifies Goku because this was all happening under his nose and he didn't even know about it. He thanks Vegeta too. But Vegeta says he didn't do it for Earth or anything. This was for his own thing and kind of for his own self-preservation. He really didn't have a choice. But he's interested, so he turns to the Kais. That guy has been training with them? Did he unlock any Super Saiyan forms at all? Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Goku decides to show off Super Saiyan. Just plain old normal Super Saiyan. Not even grade 4 or anything, just Super Saiyan. And Vegeta's very underwhelmed. I mean, the guy has Super Saiyan Blue evolution. Seeing this, it's actually kind of funny that this is such a huge feat for Goku, but it gets him thinking. Yeah, maybe this guy could be his next rival. Cell had to be killed, but Kakarot, he's not evil like that. He could be a perfect rival, especially since he's training under the Kais. Imagine that. A candidate for God of Destruction, with a rival who's a candidate for Supreme Kai. He walks up to Kakarot, stretching out a hand, explaining what he has in mind. And Goku's intrigued, very intrigued. Of course, he has a long way to go, but he'll use that as motivation. He promises Vegeta, one day, they'll be perfect rivals for each other. And Vegeta smiles. What an odd twist of fate. Him meeting his other rival, and it's just another Saiyan. A low-class one at that. After his fight with Cell, Beerus has assessed Vegeta's fortitude. He could tell, in the face of adversity, which this is really the first time he faced something like that, Vegeta was able to handle himself pretty well. And he's of course known for a while now. Vegeta does want to become an official god of destruction. He's even already learned the techniques, practicing with Hakais and all. Ever since Vegeta was brought to this planet, Beerus kinda knew that he wanted to get this. But he really needed a test like this, and Beerus is elated. Vegeta would definitely be a great candidate. He was kind of unofficially being trained for a god of destruction, but now it's a lot more official. He could be made into a candidate for it. And Vegeta is just as elated as Beerus. They're ready to embark on this new path in their journey. And Beerus is looking forward to it. This way, Vegeta will definitely be a worthy rival. And on Vegeta's end, he's glad. He'll actually be able to become a god of destruction. Not only that, but he'll be getting a lot stronger too. But what is he gonna work towards next? He just got Blue Evolution. Is there a new evolution in power that he can unlock? And Beerus smirks. That'll be the next step of his training, utilizing destruction in a much different format. And he thinks that Vegeta could definitely pull this off, but he is gonna need someone to train with him. Beerus could train with him a lot, but he's really just sitting there kind of guiding him, which isn't really Beerus' style. Instead, he has a really great option. set him up with another candidate for God of Destruction. Of course, a lot of the other Gods of Destruction don't really like Beerus, so when they hear that he's setting a new candidate, they're actually really glad and do want to help out. The faster Beerus gets out, the better. They could probably have someone competent now. And luckily, there is a strong candidate for God of Destruction in another universe. One who could definitely be a worthy rival for Vegeta. Universe 11's Toppo, a Pride Trooper, and someone that's going to be the next god of that universe. It's strange. This is the first time Vegeta's been outside of Universe 7 in general. He knew about the multiverse, and he learned a lot about it from Whis and Beerus. But he's never actually traveled outside of it, and now he's here in Universe 11. While also at some points, people from Universe 11 come to Universe 7 too. Toppo is glad to meet Vegeta, and Vegeta feels the same way. Another God of Destruction candidate, someone just like him. He's ready, and the two of them decide it's best to test each other's powers right now. Vegeta powers up in the Blue Evolution, while Toppo uses his God of Destruction mode, and Vegeta sees. That's what he needs to unlock. The two have an all-out battle, and Vegeta comments on it. Toppo is definitely powerful, but only really around the same strength as Cell was, which is a huge compliment. Cell was really powerful in this scenario, and Toppo's surprised. Even without using a form like this, Vegeta's able to get ahead. But he could tell, Vegeta still has a long way to go. He should get this form though, and if he does, he'll be able to use it a lot more effectively than anyone probably. Given his innate abilities as a Saiyan, and his raw power in general, Vegeta with this form would be pretty much unstoppable. And Beerus tells Vegeta, this is exactly what he's looking for. He needs to tap into that egotistical, barbaric, destructive nature. Something seen amongst the Gods of Destruction, as well as Saiyans in general. And with this new training partner, Vegeta's confident. Toppo could definitely show him the ropes, and the two of them can grow stronger together. It's mutually beneficial, and the two actually get along pretty well. But meanwhile, in Universe 7, something similar is happening. As Goku continues training with the Kais, he gets more and more interested with becoming a Supreme Kai. It would be strange, he's not actually one of the core people like them. And it would be weird, a Saiyan as a Kai? Of all things, that's not really that fitting. But Goku's definitely showing some promise. Which is why he needs his own rival too. It's pretty much the opposite problem of Vegeta. Shin and Kibito are too weak to handle Goku now. He's gotten so strong at this point that they realize he needs someone stronger to train with him. And Kibito actually gets a pretty good idea. Someone that he's been training with too, a Kai from another universe. It would be perfect for Goku. So they set him up with a meeting. And much like how Vegeta met Toppo, Goku travels to Universe 10, the neighbor of Universe 11. And here, he meets his new rival, Zamasu, an apprentice Kai. And at first, Zamasu is appalled. Wait, they're training Immortal? Not only that, from what he could tell, he doesn't really seem too smart either. He's so informal, impolite, possibly even barbaric. And Zamasu's disgusted with this. He tries to act polite in front of them, but it's pretty clear. Zamasu's not liking this one bit. When he heard that there was a new person to train with, he expected another Kai like himself. And they say he is a Kai. Goku's a Kai just as much as they are. And his power. It's definitely something that Zamasu should test out. So, Zamasu bites the bullet and decides to spar with Goku for a bit, and he's surprised. Goku is actually pretty powerful. By this point, Goku's actually ascended Super Saiyan. His training has been so effective that he's been able to get a mastery on Super Saiyan relatively quickly, thanks to some pointers from Vegeta too. And unlike Vegeta, he actually discovers something brand new. Vegeta was looking towards more of the godly forms, and he completely ignored his regular Super Saiyan form. But as for Goku, all he has is this normal Super Saiyan form. So he's decided to try and improve it more and more. Not just in terms of efficiency, but power. And he's accessed a new level, Super Saiyan 2. He shows it off against Zamasu. And it is pretty impressive. And Goku's just as impressed too with Zamasu. They're able to keep up with each other pretty easily. And at first, yeah, Zamasu is impressed. But as he thinks more and more about it, once Goku leaves, he realizes how disgusting it truly is. Immortal becoming that strong, mocking gods. Why is he being chosen to train under the gods? He doesn't deserve that. He's not worthy of that. And this sends Zamasu on a conquest. He gets an idea. He needs to take matters into his own hands, and he knows exactly how to do it. One of the other things that really upset him is hearing about the things in Universe 7. There was no time travel there, but as he learns more about the universe, he figures out that there's something there called Dragon Balls. That goes directly against the order of the universe. It creates such an imbalance of power. It only makes Zamasu even more disgusted. So even though there's no time travel to upset him, Goku still upsets him. Everything about Goku, who he is, what he is. Zamasu is angered by it, and not only that, but the fact that the Dragon Balls exist. Things are not going how he wants it, what he views to be correct, and he has a pretty good idea of what to do now. One day in Universe 11, Vegeta and Toppo are training together just like normal. And they sense something strange, a surge in power. It feels like a Kai. There's a battle going on. They rush over to where they sense it, and when they arrive, they find nothing. All three of the gods of this universe, the Angel, the God of Destruction, and the Kai, they're all gone, as well as whatever energy that was that they sensed. It's not there. They see no trace of it. And Toppo's concerned, wondering what happened. They wouldn't have just left randomly like that. And especially for someone like Belmod, how could his energy just disappear randomly? It's so potent. And Vegeta's confused too. This is definitely not normal. Thankfully, Vegeta has a device to communicate with Whis. He pulls it out, asking what happened, and Whis isn't sure either. They weren't even aware of anything going on here. But just to be safe, they're gonna bring Vegeta and Toppo back here to Universe 7. And they're gonna try to get to the bottom of this. So they make a brief trip to Universe 11, going back to Universe 7. And along the trip, they try to discuss what was going on. Whis looks into it more and more, and he sees something strange. He notices the gods from Universe 10 have disappeared too. Well, most of them at least. The Kai and the God of Destruction and the Angel there, they're gone. The two angels from Universe 10 and 11 left, meaning that their God of Destruction must have died. Presumably because the Kais were killed too. Wait, killed? Oh yes, it appears someone killed them. And we see something pretty interesting. He sees a Kai jumping from other universes too. It's one from Universe 10, an apprentice Kai. That one guy is Zamasu. Oh yeah, he remembers. He was training with Goku before. He occasionally trained with Kibito as well. Maybe he just escaped, but maybe he also has something to do with this. They arrive back in Universe 7, and Toppo says they immediately need to get to the bottom of this. The first order of business should be to protect the Kais here. Find Shin and Kibito immediately. Get them to come here to this planet. And Beerus agrees. That's a great idea. But then he starts feeling strange. He makes an odd face, and then realizes what's happening. He keels over in pain. Vegeta runs up to him, asking what's happening. And Beerus looks to Vegeta. He tells him, it's already too late. But he puts a hand on Vegeta's shoulder. He trusts that he'll do the right thing here. He knows that Vegeta could solve this. This will be a true test. If he really wants to be a god of destruction, he'll need to see this through. Beerus falls to the ground, dying, then disappearing. Whis briefly comments on it, telling Vegeta plainly, Shin must have died, which means Beerus died as well. He then goes silent, saying that he can no longer be of assistance here. Toppo and Vegeta watch on in disbelief as Whis leaves. What the hell? What's going on? They're panicked. But as the two candidates, and really the only gods of destruction for their universes, they need to solve this. And then another power appears nearby, and Vegeta can tell what it is. It's Goku. He looks over to see. Kakarot's standing there, injured. He has a sword in hand, and he also has Kibito with him too, who is unconscious right now. Goku tries to explain what's going on, trying to warn Vegeta and Toppo, but they say they already know. They're surprised that he made it out though, as well as Kibito. But Goku tells them this is no ordinary threat. Yes, it is Zamasu, but he's immortal. Immortal? And just as soon as Goku starts explaining, they see someone materialize behind him, using the same Kai that Goku used. It's none other than Zamasu himself. Yes, he's immortal, and he's surprised. There's other people here. He knew about Goku, of course, but who are these two mortals? Oh, he sees. They must be the candidates for God of Destruction. Well, he apologizes. Their masters needed to go. Hopefully they'll agree with his plan. Angered at the death of Beerus, Vegeta powers up instantly, rushing in, eliminating Zamasu. And not just with any normal attack either, he charges a powerful Hakai. It completely erases Zamasu, at least for a moment. He fully regenerates, and Vegeta remembers, if he truly is immortal, what Beerus said must ring true. Beerus once told him that Hakais can't kill immortal people, although he's never encountered this before. He didn't know if it would actually be true, but testing it out here, yeah, that seems to be the case, which also means Zamasu truly is immortal. Vegeta wants to try again, but Toppo says it's better to save his energy. It's no use. If the Hakais aren't going to work, they're going to have to try something different, and there has to be another way. Vegeta says it doesn't matter though. Whether or not Zamasu is immortal, he's not strong enough to face them, and Zamasu says that's true. But he does have other ways of getting around this. They're pretty much powerless to stop him. He's already gathered the Super Dragon Balls here, which is what he used to wish for immortality. And just as a backup plan, he has a time ring. He flashes it at them. But just as he does, Goku teleports in front of him, swinging his sword, slicing Zamasu's arm clean off. Quickly, Goku grabs the ring, putting it on his own finger. He knows what that is, learning about it from Shin and Kibito. He doesn't know if Zamasu was bluffing or not, but he can't let him have this. This angers Zamasu to no end. And immediately, he starts trying to fight Goku again. Goku's already injured as is, caught off guard by Zamasu and not able to kill him. But as Zamasu lunges to attack him, Vegeta and Toppo jump in once more. They ask Goku, does he have any ideas of what to do here? They have no clue. They can't just destroy him. If there's some way to contain him and just stop him from acting, then maybe that would work, but they have no idea of how to do that. Wait, containment? That gives Goku the perfect idea. He actually does know something that he could do. He remembers, a long time ago, his master Roshi did this. There was a great threat on Earth, and the only way to stop him was with containment. Utilizing the Mafuba, he tried to stop King Piccolo. Of course, it didn't work. But Goku does remember it, and he's actually learned it. Remember, Goku's been on Earth for a while, and he's had a lot of downtime. With how many time skips we've had in the series so far, Goku's been living in relative peace and has just been training, pretty much non-stop. At some point in all those time skips, he'd probably try and pick up this technique because he wanted to learn new stuff. And he tells the two of them, just hold off Zamasu for a little bit. He needs to charge something up. He needs to regain his energy. Toppo turns to Goku, and without hesitation, lends Goku all of his energy. And Goku feels immense power, way beyond where he ever was before. He doesn't even know how to contain it. Of course, Toppo didn't lend too much, just enough to restore Goku and then some. He tells Vegeta he could definitely handle Zamasu, and Vegeta says he'll enjoy this a lot. He begins fighting Zamasu, in base alone, effortlessly fighting him. Even though Zamasu is immortal, Vegeta's enjoying this. He's able to use Zamasu as a punching bag. He keeps regenerating, and even though Zamasu is immortal, he still feels the pain from this, and Vegeta takes solace in that fact. He's not sure if what Kakarot has in mind will work, but either way, he's at least able to vent his frustrations here. And as he continues facing the Kai, a massive wave of green energy appears. There's a container in front of Goku as well, one that he created using his Kai abilities. This magic thing is really useful. And now, he can fully perform this technique. Zamasu's caught up in the wave from the Mafuba, placed in the container, and then sealed away for good. And Goku looks on, exhausted but glad. It seems to have worked. As long as this container remains intact, Zamasu will be sealed away for good, and they won't have to worry about him, immortal or not. But now there's a bigger issue at hand. Shin is gone, Beerus is gone, Whis is gone. And it's not just their universe. Universe 10 and 11 have suffered as well. Well, maybe they could use the Dragon Balls to revive them. He tries to communicate with Earth. And Kami's there. He says he can create another set of Dragon Balls. Wait, what does he mean? Well, it appears the Dragon Balls here on Earth were destroyed. He's been trying to reach Goku, but he couldn't. Thankfully, he's safe, but someone came here covertly and destroyed them all. And that makes Goku realize, alongside the Super Dragon Balls, which he's only just learning about now, maybe there truly are no Dragon Balls left. Maybe Zamasu actually went with what he said, and destroyed all sets of Dragon Balls here after using them. And Kami's not sure if whatever set he creates will be powerful enough to restore the damage done. Because remember, it's across the multiverse, and they don't know how much Zamasu has destroyed. It might have not just been the Kais and the gods. But Vegeta knows what must be done. Beerus told him it with his dying words. He'll take the mantle. He'll become a god of destruction. If they can't revive Beerus, he could definitely figure something out. And Toppo, he could do the same for his universe. And together, they'll also help Universe 10 too. But they're also going to need to find respective Kais for themselves. And once again, Vegeta turns to Goku. They promise each other they'd become perfect rivals. And what better way to do this than become the respective gods of the universe? He asks Goku, will he be the Supreme Kai of Universe 7? And Goku's shocked. It's a lot to be offered at once, but yeah, he's been training for it anyways. And maybe this would be a good next step. He smiles, once again shaking Vegeta's hand, keeping that promise that they had before. They'll work together, not only as rivals, but colleagues. They'll restore Universe 7, forging a brand new one if anything. This is the path that they're going to take. And Goku now feels reinvigorated, with the power lended from Toppo, as well as all the great training he's received. He could feel it, that godly ki coursing within him. He's going to aim for even higher heights, and Vegeta acknowledges this too. He'll be doing the same. This isn't the end of Universe 7, it's a new beginning. And Toppo smiles, glad to see Universe 7's resilience. Vegeta will make a fine god of destruction, a colleague working right alongside him. And with that, we'll end off the series here. So, what did you guys think about this part and the series as a whole? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel as well, in order to get notified for any future uploads here. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the scenario, and I'll see you all in my next video.